Incas civilization. Strengths. The Incas are a versatile civilization as they have several useful economic bonuses. Their houses provide extra population, which can be very useful for quickly increasing population and saving wood. Their buildings cost less stone and villagers benefit from blacksmith technologies, starting from the castle age, making them more durable and resistant to a rush. These two bonuses allow the Incas to make good fortifications and forward bases near the opponents for a rush. Their extra llama bonus can be used for exploring in the early game or just for taking some extra food. Their team bonus allows farms to be built more quickly. This is especially useful in the mid and late game when the economy of the team relies on farms for gathering food. Incan unique units are both powerful counter units. The Kamayuk is one of the few melee units of the game that have range, +1. This means that if a player has 2 or more lines of Kamayuks, the second line also attacks, giving them a significant advantage in pitched melee battles and allows them to attack from behind walls. The anti-cavalry bonus of the Kamayuks is very helpful in the late game, as they are much better than a regular halberdier, and are powerful in large numbers. They are not as strong against infantry in one-to-one fights, but can easily overpower them in groups. With Kamayuks, Incas can fight civilizations who heavily rely on cavalry, such as Franks, Saracens, Persians, and Magyars. The Slinger, on the other hand, is an anti-infantry unit, in some way similar to a hand cannoneer but weaker, cheaper, faster firing, more accurate, and available from the castle age without having to research chemistry first. The Slingers and the Skirmishers' minimum range can be removed using their unique technology called Andean Sling. With Slingers, Incas can fight infantry civilizations like Vikings, Malay, or Teutons. The Eagle Warrior's armor can be improved with the unique technology fabric shields that gives them +1/+2 extra armor. This unique technology, plus blacksmith technologies, increases the armor of Eagle Warriors considerably to an incredible 10 pierce armor, making Incan Eagle Warriors devastating on raids as they withstand both town center and castle arrow fire. Inca early bonuses of Stone, House, and Llama are very helpful in the Dark and Feudal Age, while their very cost-effective units i.e. Kamayuk, vs Cavalry, Slinger, vs Infantry, Eagle Warrior, vs Buildings, Monks, Gunpowder, and Archers, are very good in the Castle and Imperial Age. Weaknesses. Like the other Native American civilizations, the Incas lack cavalry and gunpowder units, which puts them at a disadvantage. While Eagle Warriors make decent cavalry substitutes in the Castle Age and early Imperial Age, they don't have a lot of HP so are easily outmatched by paladins and they cost a lot of gold, unlike hussars. So in late game they must rely almost entirely on their unique units which are both individually weak and must be used in large groups to be effective. The Incas lack any offensive or defensive bonuses for their troops. This vulnerability is increased by the lack of durability of their unique units. This puts the Incas at a disadvantage in large battles as they lack staying power. They must rely on counter units. For example, Kamayuks counter cavalry, Slingers for infantry, and Eagle Warriors against archery and siege. The Incas are probably weakest when going toe-to-toe against the Aztecs and Mayans, since the Incas' economy bonuses and Eagle Warriors are the weakest of the 3 Native American civilizations. Additionally, the Incas' unique unit, the Kamayuk, cannot utilize its attack bonus against cavalry. Strategy. Incas have a slightly different start from other civilizations. Only one house needs to be built, although 2 can be built optionally, and they can start gathering food immediately due to starting with a llama. The llama has a slightly better line of sight than a sheep, so it can also be used to scout around if the player spots their sheep early. The llama also provides food. Incas have 2 main strategies. A tower rush, trush, which is made especially potent by their stone bonus and villager bonus, and a standard fast castle. They are also able to perform eagle scout rushes, and archer feudal age rushes. However, Incas are known mainly for their tower rush, just as Aztecs for their militia rush and Mayans for their archer rush. For a tower rush, the player must go up to the feudal age around 22 population, 21 villagers, and task at least 2 to mine stone, preferably 5 or 6. In the feudal age, they must build a blacksmith as soon as possible and research scale mail armor in first place, then they must get forging afterwards if they can afford it without disrupting villager production, and then fletching, for the tower attack, if the player can afford it. While doing this, the player need to send up to 5 villagers, preferably 10 or 12 divided in 2 groups, over to the opponent's base in order to build a tower at a short distance away from their first disruptive tower. This first tower is meant to not be spotted as it goes up, and to protect the villagers while they make the second one, which should go over the main gold mine or main forest or some such critical supply area. From here, the player must keep pressing in and building towers within range of each other to cover all of the critical resources and surrounding the opponent's town center. If able, the player should then steal the stone mines of his opponent. If the villagers are attacked by other villagers, they do have blacksmith technologies and can take down the enemy villagers, but even so is better to only engage under a tower, since losses should be kept to a minimum. If they are attacked by enemy men-at-arms or eagle warriors, if the opponent is in the feudal age, or castle age units, the player must take their villagers and garrison them in a tower since they are weak against those units, but Incan villagers with blacksmith technologies and loom in the feudal age can still handle archers, skirmishers, scout cavalry, and spearmen. If the opponent survives, then the Inca player should age up to castle age as soon as possible and use their stone to create castles, turning the Inca trush into a castle drop. For a fast castle, there is no real difference besides needing fewer houses. Upon reaching the castle age, army composition is dependent on what the enemy is doing. Kamayuks counter cavalry, especially when massed, slingers counter infantry, especially when massed, skirmishers and eagle warriors counter archers. The player must try to not use too many eagle warriors unless they need to raid an enemy location, since Incas arguably have the worst eagles in the game. Aztec and Mayan eagles get huge attack and health boosts, respectively. Incan eagle warriors get an armor boost, which can help absorb arrow fire, which they already resist heavily, can reduce damage when retreating from cavalry. Mayan eagles can take nearly 2 hits for every 1 hit others can, so they're still inferior, and can catch slower units easier, which is still overshadowed by Aztecs dealing extra damage. Notably, post-imperial Incan elite eagle warriors can survive 60 arrows from post-imperial arbalests, due to fabric shields. This durability outshines Mayan eagles, who can survive 50, despite their El Dorado unique technology, while Aztec eagles can endure 30 arrows. In the Imperial Age, Incas begin to struggle. All of their troops have fairly low health, and cannot last long. They have 2 choices: end it in one quick strike, or prepare for a drawn-out siege. Fortunately, Incas seem to be practically built for lengthy sieges. Their villagers can take a lot of abuse before dying, allowing them to easily set up cheaper castles on the front lines along with other offensive buildings and military buildings such as archery ranges, siege workshops, monasteries, and barracks. Also set up monasteries in the Imperial Age, as this required for a good Inca army composition, which consists of several siege units, skirmishers, and archers, and some monks for support the front lines of slingers, eagle warriors, and Kamayuks. On the sea, the lack of cannon galleons puts Incas at a distinct disadvantage. They should either use boats more defensively, or try to keep the foe from getting any towers or castles up. In team games, they can simply have a teammate that take care of opposing castles, and support them by keeping enemy boats away. Defensively, Incas fare reasonably well. Their stone walls cost 1 less stone, 4 instead of 5, which helps make stone walling more affordable. Their dedicated counter units are good for destroying poorly composed enemy armies, and can easily retreat for healing, which is their main problem in pitched battles outside the opponent's base. Strategy changes in the definitive edition. Watchtowers' HP is reduced to 700 in the Dark Age. In the Castle Age, they still have 1020 HP. Despite this, their tower rush is still a viable tactic, just a bit harder to perform successfully. Incas are also granted the new technology supplies, which improves their militia line. The Slinger, however, got the attack reduced from 5 to 4, while the performance against infantry is untouched. This makes the Slinger considerably weaker against non-infantry units. For instance, against knights they now need 60 shots to take down one, 20 more than the 40 shots before. They are also able to train colletal warriors if they convert a stable, so they gain access to a cavalry unit. The effect of tracking now is applied directly when advancing to the feudal age, improving the scouting ability of their Eagle Scouts, as they now do not have to research it. Alliances. Incas are valuable allies not only for their team bonus but also for their stone discount bonus on their buildings, as they can create defensive structures to support all their team cheaper than other civilizations. Incas benefits greatly from civilizations that can cover their natural lack of cavalry, while also they benefit from many team bonuses that helps them in a tactical way or boosts archers and infantry. Allied with Slavs will help them to make housing even more affordable, as the Slav bonus makes military buildings to support 5 populations, so the Incas can increase their population capacity even faster. The Italian team bonus is also especially useful, as condottieri from them can synergize with the Slinger and the Kamayuk in the battlefield. As the Incan towers are cheaper, the Ethiopian team bonus is also helpful, as it improves the line of sight of the towers. Their villagers benefit from the blacksmith technologies for infantry, so a Bulgarian ally also makes a good synergy, enabling a faster villager rush, since they will get faster blacksmith technologies. Team bonuses that boost archery range units are especially useful for the Incas, like Britain's team bonus, Saracen team bonus, and Magyar team bonus, as the Slinger is considered an archer and is produced at the archery range. Alternatively, Berber teammates grant the Incas genitors with full blacksmith technologies as the cavalry contingent they direly need, plus Kasbah upgrade to help them amass Kamayuks and trebuchets quickly. It is important to notice that genitors also benefits from the Andean Sling technology. Similarly, Vietnamese also grant the Imperial Skirmisher upgrade to the Incas, which will also benefits from Andean Sling, thus enriching their counter-unit roster against most units. The Vietnamese ally can also address to their Incan ally the locations of the opponents since the start of the game, enabling to perform better a rush. Mayans and Incas have a very strong defensive synergy due to the Mayan team bonus and the Mayan bonus of generating extra resources from nature gathering. When allied with Mayans, Incas' stone walls only costs 2 stone, 1 less stone than the Mayans, which stone walls costs 3, and Mayans in this case can specialize in economy and tributing stone to the Incas, while their Inca ally builds most of their defensive structures for both players. Also the Incas can offer to their Mayan ally their starting llamas, so Mayans can get more food for it. Similarly, Incas can also offer that llama to a Briton ally that can take the food of that llama faster. The same thing can be done for the Tatars, since they get 50% more food from herdables, but in their case, the Tatar team bonus offers nothing to the Incas, though the Tatars can still cover the lack of cavalry of the Incas. Advantages vs other civilizations. The Slinger, being a ranged unit with a huge bonus attack vs infantry, counters almost all types of infantry, even the infantry from prominent infantry civilizations like Teutons, Burmese, Malay, Vikings, Japanese, Aztecs and Celts, with the exception of the Goths, Huscarl and all Malian barracks infantry, as they have a large amount of pierce armor, and the Gbato. See in disadvantages. The Kamayuks are hugely effective against contingents of cavalry, especially if massed, so Incas can deal severe damage to the armies of civilizations like Franks, Burmese, Persians, Huns, Magyars, Mongols and others. Massed Incan Kamayuks are also a good response against both versions of the Bulgarian Kamayuks, first because their attack bonus vs the mounted version, and secondly because their extra range enables them to kill masses of infantry when reaching a critical mass. They are probably one of the best counters available against the steppe lancer, which is available for Tatars, Mongols, and Cumans. The other advantage of Kamayuks is they have more health and armor than spearman line units, thus they can hold their own against multiple infantry units, such as champions, when massed, unlike pikemen. However, slingers are much a powerful counter to infantry, so the player should generally mix them with Kamayuks. Having several defensive bonuses and villagers equipped with more attack and armor, they can effectively counter civilizations with early game aggression, particularly scout cavalry raids and archer raids, this to be more noticeable if the game starts at Dark or Feudal Age. Civilizations like Huns, Magyars, Mongols, Aztecs, and others that can perform early game rushes must be aware of this, or otherwise they could prove to have committed a huge mistake if going with the wrong units to harass Incas. Being a civilization with good early game and able to perform early game raids and having a particularly potent tower rush, they can defeat civilizations that fare otherwise, bad early game but good late game, like the Turks, the Portuguese, the Spanish and the Khmer, particularly in open maps like Arabia if starting from Feudal and Dark Age, as they have access to eagle warriors and have the fabric shields technology, they can give to archer-based civilizations such as Britons, Vietnamese, Ethiopians, Mayans, and Chinese a hard time by exploiting the benefits of their well-rounded eagle warriors. Sometimes this can prove effective against cavalry archer-based civilizations such as Mongols and Huns. Their eagle warriors can also be unpleasant for civilizations reliant on siege units like Celts and Ethiopians. Their access to eagle warriors also makes them an excellent counterpick against Lithuanians, since they have bonus damage against monks, conversion resistance, and a sizable line of sight, 3 features that help them to prevent their opponents from claiming the relics. Although their eagles are weaker than the first 2 Mesoamerican civilizations, Incas have much stronger early game rush thanks to their early economy bonuses. Defensively, they have an advantage against civilizations with mediocre siege workshop or proper anti-building units thanks to their cheaper walls, castles, and towers, without considering the trebuchets which every civilization have access to. These includes Britons, Japanese, and Magyars. Of course, once they get to the Imperial Age, this advantage is no longer a problem for them. Disadvantages vs other civilizations. Since they don't get access to any kind of gunpowder unit aside from petards and demolition ships, and at the same time having no cavalry, they fare poorly at late game against civilizations that fare otherwise like Turks, Portuguese and Spanish, especially if the game starts at Castle Age onwards. Sometimes this disadvantage can also being exploited in closed maps like Black Forest against Incas, as late-game civilizations can build up their way to Imperial Age if they manage to wall up in the early game and survive. Malayans can be a very unpleasant rival for the Incas, as their infantry bonus can partially negate the Slinger efficacy vs infantry while also became more resilient against regular archers. Malayans also have the Gbato, which despite being infantry they move faster and are more accurate than the Slingers, however fully upgraded Slingers get more range than Gbatos, becoming arguably in tie with fully upgraded Gbatos. Goths with full infantry upgrades can counter virtually any Incan army. If Incas go for skirmishers and slingers or go for castle drops and towers, Goths can simply respond with masses of Huscarls, who are good against both buildings and archers, which can destroy unprotected slingers. If Incas try to spam eagle warriors, Goths can then spam champions and halberdiers, and knowing that the Kamayuks' main purpose is to counter cavalry, Goths can simply skip to making them and create masses of infantry superior in number to the Incan contingents. Civilizations with good onagers are also a counter to Incas, as Incan armies usually had to be large masses of infantry and archers to become more effective, so onager volleys can deal severe damage to them, especially if the Incan army is on compact formations. Civilizations like these include Celts, Ethiopians, Mongols, and Koreans of course. Byzantine cataphracts can counter Incan armies composed of eagle warriors and Kamayuks. Still, massed Kamayuks reaching a critical mass may be in tie with cataphracts. Also, large contingents of Mayan plumed archers can be a problem for the Incas if they don't make use of skirmishers and eagle warriors to counter them. Japanese samurai deal bonus damage against all the core units of the Incan army, eagle warriors, slingers, and Kamayuks, so they are a huge threat. Aztecs are a very dangerous opponent to the Incas, since their infantry are stronger, thanks to the Garland Wars, making their eagle warriors superior in combat against the Incan one. Their skirmishers, boosted by Atlatl, can counter slingers, and jaguar warriors easily slaughter 2 of their core units, Kamayuks and eagle warriors. Kamayuks are useless against contingents of Teutonic Knights and Viking berserks, since these units have better stats and can counter their eagle warrior. As they are costly, they can be outnumbered by Malay Karambit warriors. The Lithuanian unique unit, the Litus, can be very effective when raiding an Incan settlement, as its attack ignores armor, so all the extra armor the Incan villagers have is useless. Situational advantages. As their stone discount bonus applies to the town center, they have an advantage in nomad maps. Since patch 5.8, they get their free llama once they finish their town center, so they now can place their initial TC more freely, knowing that at least they will secure the food of the llama if they can't find a location with enough food. If playing nomad maps starting in the castle age onwards, they also get another starting advantage, as the blacksmith technologies from the previous age are already researched, meaning that their villagers can chase and kill the opponent's villagers if they encounter them. In Budapest map, as every player have double startup, 2 town centers, double villagers and 2 scouts, they also get an advantage as they start with 2 llamas instead of 1. Despite being at disadvantage vs late-game civilizations with gunpowder in closed maps like Black Forest, Incas still have an advantage on those kinds of maps thanks to their cheaper fortifications, stone walls, towers and castles, so never underestimate their mid-game and even their late game in these maps. In maps where players start with some houses such as Fortress and Socotra, Incas also get a distinctive advantage as they are able to push up their population faster than other civilizations as their houses allows 10 population each. As they get Eagle Warriors, when playing the Capture the Relic game mode they get a substantial advantage since those can patrol the center of the map protecting the relic as they have attack bonus against monks, high conversion resistance and sizable line of sight. Incas are also well suited for King of the Hill and Defend the Wonder game modes, as their cheaper fortifications help to defend monuments and wonders. They are also well suited for a wonder victory in standard game matches. In addition, their wonder costs less stone. They can save wood from houses and stone from their wonder, so they are also well suited for a wonder race game match. Thank you for watching the video. Please give me a like or follow me so I have the motivation to create more new videos. Chanel Jahamvwi thanks you very much.